It's spring football time in Tennessee, and so let's talk spring storylines for the Tennessee Volunteers as spring ball is well underway on this episode of EkeSports. Man, I love this time of year. You get the March Madness, but we're talking spring football as well. Let's go get 'em! Several storylines abound for the Tennessee Volunteers as we get spring ball underway, and the first important storyline is, it's a new look defense. Out goes Tim Banks, and in comes Jim Knowles. Highly regarded defensive coach, was the architect of the defense at Ohio State that won a national championship in 2024. Goes to Penn State in 2025, and it doesn't really work. The coaching staff is let go, and a lot of things had to change. So for this defense in Knoxville, fair to middling, I would say. Save for 1 year in 2024 when the Vols got to the college football playoff, it was really the thing that was holding the unit back, and the common denominator was former defensive coordinator Tim Banks. So out he goes, and in comes Jim Knowles, who comes with a reputation that precedes him. And he's got a lot to work with here. Arian Carter, the all-SEC linebacker for the Vols, tested the NFL draft waters but decided to return to Rocky Top. And that's a big boon for Jim Knowles to get his first defense started. He brought several players over from his time at Penn State, including a former 5-star defensive end prospect in Chaz Coleman. It is going to be a new-look defense, and historically, these defenses are hard to grasp initially. But when you do grasp it, it becomes a nightmare. So I'm very interested to see what Jim Knowles does for this Tennessee team on the defensive side of the ball. Going into 2025, the major question for the Volunteers was they were very young at the skill positions. They were very young at receiver, very young at running back. Tight ends were also young as well. This unit needed some experience, and guess what? The only way to get experience is to play football, and that's what they did in 2025. They got an all-SEC freshman performance from redshirt freshman Braylon Staley. Mike Matthews in his first year as a starter really took a step forward. But the depth behind them is something that needs to be answered and needs to be addressed. They do have guys in Travis Smith Jr. and Redarius Jackson, the sophomore out of Memphis, Tennessee. And they were able to bring in a 5-star prospect in Tristian Keys out of Mississippi. So the receiver position is stocked, but the running back position is a question. They lost Peyton Lewis to the transfer portal, and they only have Dwan Morris from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and rising junior Deshaun Bishop. Now, they were able to go to the portal and find Javian Gordon from Tulane, but there are serious questions about the depth at the running back position. And you're not going to be able to get one of those in the portal. That's where my concern lies. Who's going to step up and continue to round that running back room out? Tight ends, I'm not necessarily worried about, mainly because Ethan Davis is going to be back, and he came on at the end of 2025 in a significant way. But the skill position is something to keep your eye on going forward. To tell you the story of how we got to this point in 2026, you have to go back to that college football playoff game in Columbus, Ohio in 2024. Nico Iamaleava leading the Volunteers into the college football playoff against Jim Knowles and that Ohio State defense. But what we didn't know at the time is that that was the end of Nico's time in Knoxville. We just hadn't gotten to that point. We get to the end of spring practice 2025, and Nico has decided to return to the West Coast, and he transfers to UCLA. He left the Vols in a bit of a lurch. There was no opportunity to find somebody in the portal until Nico's decision upended the status of one Joey Aguilar, who had just transferred to UCLA to finish out his final season of eligibility. In the first pseudo-de facto trade in college football history, Nico goes to UCLA, and Joey Aguilar comes to the Hill, and he has a successful season. He throws for 3,565 yards and 24 touchdowns and added 4 more on the ground. But now that Joey Aguilar is gone and off to the NFL, who's going to step up in his place? There are two main options. Redshirt freshman George McIntyre from right here in Nashville, and incoming freshman and former five-star prospect Faizon Brandon. Now, let's break it down a little bit. George McIntyre, Faizon Brandon, they're both talented quarterbacks. They both have big arms. But I think the thing that separates them right now is that George McIntyre has been in the offense. He's been through the offense. He's learned it, and he's had time on task in game action. The issue for George McIntyre going forward is really transforming his body, because he's listed at 6'6", but just 201 pounds. He's got to find a way to put some muscle on to be able to handle the rigors of being a quarterback in the Southeastern Conference. Derek Owings is the new strength and conditioning coach, and he had just come from Indiana where they won a national championship. We'll see how his influence impacts the figure of the redshirt freshman quarterback. Faizon Brandon, the former five-star prospect from Greensboro, North Carolina, a supremely athletic quarterback option, big arm. He's got all the physical measurables, but his issue is just adjusting to life in college, adjusting to life as an SEC quarterback, learning the offense that he is now in. Those are the issues that he's going to have to deal with. Those are the things that he's going to have to grow and adjust to. Right now, I would give the edge to George McIntyre simply because he's been on campus for longer. Now, it doesn't take away from Faizon Brandon's future. I think he's got an incredibly bright future on the hill. But right now, you're just trying to figure out who can operate the offense and manage it in the best way possible. And if there's one person that I trust to lead a quarterback competition, it's head coach Josh Heupel. He's been in them before. He's been a quarterback. He's won a national championship. He knows how these things work. And so on that front, I 100% trust him. And as long as Josh Heupel is the man in charge in Knoxville, offensive production will follow. I believe that. And with the new look defense led by Jim Knowles, the sudden experience at the skill position players, especially at wide receiver, and how he's going to manage the quarterback situation, I feel confident in this team going forward. I think this is a team that can make some noise nationally. I think that they have the opportunity to make the college football playoff. We'll see on that, but I feel confident in believing that this is a place that they could get to. But tell me what you think about the Tennessee Volunteers heading into 2026. Do you think that they can make some noise? Are you confident in the quarterback situation? Who do you think is going to end up winning the competition? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.